Howdy, most excellent rock buds. It's Rock Papa. Today I'm coming to you live from beautiful Woodbine, Georgia, and I'm broadcasting from our brand new 2021 Dodge Ram ProMaster van. It's the shortest from top to bottom of the ProMasters, but since I'm a shrimp, I can stand up full height, 5 feet 8. Today we're going to talk about the Ordovician period, which was about 500 to 450 million years ago, and what happened. We're going to talk about the Silurian period, which was about 450 to 400 million years ago, and what happened. And we're going to talk about the Devonian period, which lasted from about 400 million years ago to about 350. So stay tuned. We got some interesting orogenies, etc. Coming up. And I hope you guys will like this video. If you do, please subscribe. Thank you a million to all my wonderful subscribers. I appreciate you so much and think about you all the time. So here we go. More orogenies, more plate tectonic events. The taconic orogeny. The taconic orogeny, or mountain building event, was the main attraction of the Ordovician period, which lasted from 500 million years ago to about 450 million years ago. The taconic orogeny was caused by subduction. Subduction creates and enlarges continents. During the formation of supercontinent Pangaea, continents began to come closer together. This pressure caused ocean crust to break, and one piece of ocean crust was subducted beneath another, creating a volcanic island chain off the coast of the ancient eastern North America. There were two parts to this ancient volcanic island chain. A northern part denoted by the red color, and a southern part denoted by the green color. By the end of the taconic orogeny, the red section of volcanic island chains had crashed into North America from about Virginia north, creating huge mountains and adding to the continent. On the other hand, the green section of volcanic island chain did not crash. Instead, it produced massive amounts of gold between itself and the North American continent, eventually giving rise to the Dahlonega, Georgia gold rush, the first of America's great gold rushes. Post-orogeny passive margin. The Silurian period lasted from about 450 million years ago to 400 million years ago. During Silurian time, the Himalayan-sized mountains created by the taconic orogeny were eroding onto the continent and into the sea. These former volcanic mountains were loaded with elements like iron, sulfur, sodium, calcium. During Silurian time, the climate was hot, the seas were shallow and warm with restricted flow. The mineral-rich waters from the eroding mountains washed into these shallow seas. The seawater evaporated readily, leaving rich deposits of especially iron and salt and gypsum. Hey, rock buds, all of the iron that was deposited during Silurian gave rise to the iron industries associated with Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Birmingham, Alabama, and other places. Also, hundreds of feet of salt were deposited, guess where? Under the Great Lakes, and gave rise to the tremendous salt industry. When it rains, it pours. If you've read about Daniel Boone, you've read about how he went north to make salt from the salt-rich springs that bubbled out in northern Kentucky, and these also came from the salt deposits of the Silurian. Nearly everybody's house has sheetrock on the inside, or wallboard, gypsum board, and that comes from the gypsum deposits. Remember in the last video we talked about the post-Knox unconformity, which lifted up the land and caused all the limestone of the Knox Formation to become karsted. That means with sinkholes and caves and that sort of thing. Well, during the taconic orogeny, the volcanic activity associated with it pumped a bunch of zinc and other minerals and metals into this karsted limestone. That process is called mineralization. That's why we have a lot of zinc mines in eastern Tennessee. In rock buds, you guys are probably familiar with Copper Hill, Tennessee, and Ducktown, Georgia, where loads and loads of copper were pumped into the sediments in that area, mainly metagraywag, during the taconic orogeny. The Akkadian orogeny of the Devonian period. You guys will remember that this is what it looked like at the end of the taconic orogeny. The northern section of volcanic island arc crashed, but the southern section did not. During the Devonian period, which lasted from about 400 million years ago to about 350 million years ago, a microcontinent, which is larger than an island arc but smaller than a regular sized continent, began to approach eastern North America. This microcontinent was called the Akkadian microcontinent, and its orogeny, the Akkadian orogeny, happened in two stages. During the first stage or phase of the Akkadian orogeny, the Akkadian microcontinent crashed into North America, again from about Virginia north. It eroded most of its sediments way up north into a huge basin called the Catskill Basin. And this eroded Akkadian microcontinent began to slide southwest, taking some or all of the red taconic terrain with it. All this geologic territory slid southwest along a fault line called the Brevard Fault Zone, depicted here as a yellow line. Geologists call the eroded and shifted southwest remains of the Akkadian microcontinent the Carolina Superterrane. When the Carolina Superterrane came southwest, it shoved the green section of taconic island arc onto the continent. Southeastern geologists called the green material our eastern Blue Ridge, the red material the inner Piedmont, and of course the blue material the Carolina terrane. Once again, subduction creates and enlarges continents. Here's a summary of the geologic history of North America that we have discussed so far. If you wanted to make notes of these, it might be helpful to refer back to later on. Okay, the first thing that we have is late Precambrian, from 750 million years ago to about 550 million years ago. Supercontinent Rodinia rifts apart. Then during the Cambrian period, which lasted from about 550 million years ago to about 500 million years ago, we had the rift-to-drift sequence of sediments deposited and the Cambrian explosion of life, and then the post-Knox unconformity. Then came the Ordovician period, which lasted from about 500 million years ago to about 450 million years ago, in which we had the taconic orogeny, the taconic mountain building event. It's also called the Taconian orogeny, which occurred on the eastern coast of North America. Then came the Silurian period, which lasted from about 450 million years ago to about 400 million years ago. During Silurian, the taconic mountains were eroding into the sea, creating passive margin sediments and also depositing huge quantities of iron, salt, calcite, and gypsum in hot, shallow basins. And then came the Devonian period, which lasted from about 400 million years ago to about 350 million years ago. The Acadian microcontinent crashed into North America from Virginia north. It eroded most all of its sediments into the Catskill Basin up there, then slid southwest on the Brevard Fault Zone, taking a bunch of the northern red section of volcanic island chain with it. Okay, most excellent rock buddies, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. And in the next video, we'll cover some more mountain building events, especially ones that happened on the west coast of North America. Until then, this is your Rock Papa saying happy rock hunting.